Welcome to Film 360, the Full Circle Film Show. I'm excited tonight to have the director and producer of a local film on, Lucas Millhouse. Very excited to hear about Lake 7 and the Golden Gun. Exciting stuff. Real quick, we just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Creative Stream, for letting us film in this awesome space, and Voyage Direct Primary Care. They've got an awesome healthcare solution for independent contractors. It's great for filmmakers. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more Film 360. So here I am with Lucas Millhouse, and I've been kind of reading up on you today, and just to learn a little bit more about you, and very interesting history. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you come from and how you came into the film world?
Sure. I am from Colorado. I'm from Grand Junction, which is about 30 miles from the border of Utah. I got into theater when I was in high school, and my first production was I was a stagehand, and I ran the huge cannon for the Pink Panther Strikes Again. Like, there's a villain, and he has a huge cannon that shoots CO2 or whatever out of it, and I was the guy that pushed that thing on stage and wheeled it back. So I started on stage, and kind of fell in love with it, and it was kind of an escape and a release in high school. And I got into one college. I got into SUU. And I went down there and I studied more theater and tried to get my degree. Studied music while I was down there too. Vocal performance, and improv was huge back then. That's when Whose Line Is It Anyway was large.
Let's heyday, yeah.
And so I did that too and tried to figure out how to do that. And once I got back from before I served my mission, I served a mission and did some ministering. I made my first short film, which was called Yard Sale. And I just wrote this screwball script and filmed in our backyard, and had a couple of my buddies and a couple of people. I worked at a TV station for a little while, and I had
fun.
One of the lead anchors come by and looked through the yard sale, didn't say anything, and then just got in her car and left. And I was like, okay, thanks, Gene. I really appreciate you helping us out. And the sports anchor was one of the lead characters. He's a good friend of mine. So that's kind of where I got started, got my feet wet with doing a little bit of video or film, and I started in the TV realm, and then I moved after my ministry to Weber State University, and I finished my acting and directing degree.
Cool.
And while I was there, I started making. They would do a parody video at the end of the year, which kind of showed what theater productions everybody had done.
Yeah.
And we would make films. We would take the films that came out that year and kind of do mishmash type things. So and I did, the second year I did that, I thought, wow, these are actually kind of good. I can maybe use these to get into film school of some kind. But when I graduated, the economy was crashing, and I ran out of money. So I got out of school right in the middle of the economy being in the recession. So it took me a while to get a job, and I finally got a video job, part-time video job, and started to try and make commercials and do films and short films, and here I am. So yeah.
So for you currently, is filmmaking a part-time thing, full-time thing, extra full-time?
Filmmaking is I don't use that as a source of income right now. It hasn't turned into a source of income. So it's more of a passion thing, trying to convert into that. I do mostly video. Yeah. Just corporate video work now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I know that a lot of our viewers are frugal filmmakers just starting out too. And so I like to bring on people at every level.
Yeah.
People who've worked on the big stuff and people who haven't even worked on the small stuff yet in some cases. So I was really intrigued when I saw your trailer. I feel like you offer a great role model for a lot of these guys who are just starting out to see like this, you can accomplish a lot, even with not a ton of budget, which is where I'm at too, a lot of the time. So let's talk a little bit about the film.
Okay.
So there are varying levels of budget that I talk about, and most films don't even crack the first two on the list. So there's what I call a full budget film, there's a low budget film, there's a no budget film, and a shoestring budget film.
Okay.
And those, anyway.
Yeah.
Where would you place
Lake Seven is shoestring-ish budget. It's like half of a shoestring. We shot Lake Seven for $1,100, and that covered props and food for about 22 days. Like not all of them were full days. There was probably like 16 full days, and then the rest were like 3 or 4 hours here and there, and we just picked up where we could. So yeah, that's basically where the budget was. So
cool.
There was a lot of constraints that went into that type of filmmaking.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a kind of filmmaking which is common but doesn't get talked about enough, which is recreational filmmaking, which can sometimes turn profitable if it's good, but a lot of times it doesn't. It just depends on the film.
Yeah.
Is that kind of where you feel like you fit in at the moment?
Recreational filmmaking? Well, I made Lake Seven to try and use as a resume piece.
Okay.
To be able to get bigger budgets later on
Yeah.
down the road. So
Cool.
I had done 2 other films. The first film, Whip Brawler, was a short film. We had enough material to turn it into a feature. So we had like 50 minutes, and I was like, well, if we film 15 more minutes, we can get a feature film out of it. So that was the first one. So that just kind of turned into a feature. The second one, I spent probably $50 on. It's called Pegasus Hunter.
Okay.
And we shot kind of similar recreationally, I guess, when we could. And I tried to make that as good as I possibly could at the time. And then this one is basically us saying, okay, we can handle this. Like we can handle story. We know how to run camera. We know how the acting works, sound, everything. So that was the goal with this one.
I was really impressed by the concept. It really made me laugh. So actually, real quick, we're gonna take a look at the trailer, so you guys can all get a feel for it.
Hi, thank you for choosing Stewart Security, your #1 source for home security. My name is Lake, and I will be your security specialist today.
Super good.
I really hate my job. I really hate my boss, Steven Stewart.
Well, if I find out that you and your friends are doing filming here, you will be fired. You understand?
Cut. That was terrible.
Just do the take again then, okay?
I'm no master thief. I just need things.
Like, you jacked our props. What else did you take?
A bucket of paint, a Snapple one time, a wheelchair, but it was abandoned, I think.
I bought this about 6 months ago at a garage sale for $100.
It's the only one in the world, and it's made out of pure gold.
That's a special gun for chicken shot, right? That's a pretty boss firearm.
Steven, someone stole my gun. Can you send one of your techs out to check? You see, I need the proceeds from the sale of that gun to pay for a badly needed surgery, and I'm very interested in you helping me get my little prize back.
What?
I need you to find my golden gun and bring it back.
I'll do it.
What?
But it's gonna cost you. You need the help. I need the money to fund my dreams. I think I can get my friends to do it.
So like a heist.
Are you excited?
All right. But if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it my way, got it?
Yep.
Great. Who are we stealing from?
Spunky.
What do all heist movies have in common? A tech guy, an espionage expert, actor,
I'm sure you've heard lots about me. Pleased to meet you.
a master of disguise. Oh no. Someone who can do crazy stunts, kind of like JR. And someone who's in way over their head and is trying to help despite his better judgment, me. We have the skill. We have the gear. You just need to work as a team.
How hard can that be?
Oh, it's a bad idea.
I hope the intensity and the emotion don't become a distraction.
Woo! Okay, is it getting hot?
It's go time.
They say if it tingles, you're ready to mingle.
I'm a big fan. I really.
It's good water. I don't know what you do here in Provo, but man, some good stuff.
Oh yeah, only the best for our guests. So, I was really impressed by the concept behind this. It's really fun. I love heist movies, and I also love local cinema. Like I love local lower budget stuff.
Why? I'm just curious. Like what? Not a lot of people would say that. So
yeah.
I'm curious. Like why are you like intrigued about local low budget pieces of junk sometimes? Like what makes you turn on the TV and watch something like that, or the iPad or whatever? Yeah,
there are some diamonds in the rough. For one thing. In fact, one of my absolute favorite pieces of movie making at the moment is called The Time Closet. It was made by Seth Worley, who now is in charge of a bunch of stuff for like Red Giant.
Okay.
And he's on Film Riot all the time, helps them out with stuff. He's not exactly what you call a name, but he's been pretty successful. But his writing is stupendous, even though a lot of the other production values are not great. But the writing and the acting were really fun to watch, mostly the acting. There were a few actors that were not. But it's so fun. And when you find something like that, nobody else usually knows about it, so it's a fun thing to share. But I love seeing what people will put together with no resources. Film is not a cheap thing. Even the simplest movie can require so much money. And there's so many artists and so much talent that has to all be brought together with a united vision to make anything of any quality whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I actually do. I seek out this kind of content because it's fun. I really enjoy it. And I do find some real snoozers and real stinkers in the bunch. But generally, I'm not disappointed.
So something about being able to triumph over impossible odds.
And seeing... I watch these shows through a different lens, where I go, how did they film there?
Yeah.
How did they get permission to do that?
They didn't.
Which is half the time they didn't, and the other half of the time the answer is probably their dad owns it, or whatever. But that to me constitutes genius writing sometimes. In fact, not to praise myself because I don't think I'm all that bright, but that's how I write. When I make these sorts of productions, I look at my resources and I say, this is what I have available to me. Mm-hmm. How do I make that look like I have way more money than I do?
Okay.
And it works. It works really well. Typically people watch it and they have those questions like, how did you do that? And the answer is, I know a guy who knows a guy, and we, snuck in after hours or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But I could tell just from the trailer, you pooled together a lot to make this happen. And I was guessing your budget was, somewhere about where it was. Mm-hmm. But it feels good, and I feel like you got some good actors
feels
in there.
A lot bigger than it. Yeah, I showed the trailer to somebody else a couple weeks ago, and he said, "Man, this looks like it took a lot of effort." And I kind of like stepped back for a second and was like, I guess it does look like there's a ton in the trailer that I don't, because I'm so close to it, I don't see. But yeah, it's a little bit more epic than I planned on it being. So yeah.
And it's like I said, it's a great premise. So first question I have is where did your actors come from? Are they improv troupe friends or?
Some of them, the lead actor is an improv troupe guy. That's how I know him and how we collaborated. And he's been in a couple of my other films, so he always shows up. So that's why you get opportunities if you are dependable and show up. So he got this opportunity. He was the lead writer and the lead actor, and because he is dependable, and he deserves it. What was the question? Forgot what
where your cast came from.
Oh, cast. So a couple are improvers, and we just put out a casting notice. and we had a lot of really good talent show up. I think the key was for me to, and anybody that is in this position, is to say, look, this is the deal. You're not getting paid. There will be food. If you don't want to do this, don't show up. Just don't worry about it. We're not going to be offended. We just want people that are going to come here, participate, and this is the deal. Like this is what you're getting into. And I found that was that's what solidified people. Like their passion, their dedication, and it came out. Like it really did come out in the final product.
Yeah, it seems like people have good timing. It seems like everybody was having fun, and that's all you need to have an enjoyable movie. Is you need to be able to have fun because it seems like everybody else had fun.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, obviously, there's so much more that goes into it. But those are the cornerstones for me. So
yeah, especially with the quirky heist film, like I had to have a good cast, and I was blessed with a good cast. Yeah.
So that the name of the film actually is it caught me off guard. I didn't know what to make of the title for a while. I'm not even sure I liked it. I don't know, but it conjured up Ocean's 11, which obviously. But is there a connection to James Bond with the Golden Gun? Are there jokes about it? Is there anything about the Golden Gun?
That didn't really. I mean like the 007 video game from like 1999.
Right. Well, in the movie that it comes from, but yeah.
No, not really. But there's that has gone through my mind. Yeah.
I was just curious if there was any connection there. No. All right. So let's talk about the kind of the challenge of making this all happen. What was the number one?
Where should we start?
Right? Isn't that I think that's one of the hardest questions to answer with a project like this. But what would you say was the single biggest challenge you faced, and how did you deal with it?
Besides my body being on fire internally, the biggest obstacle I think we faced was locations. Just trying to find places. And as you watch the trailer, you're like, oh yeah, there was so many places we had to be. So luckily my producer knew people that had businesses or big houses or places that we could be. So, and anything else was just kind of found out of, that's what the universe provided for us. So we had a couple of places the day before, maybe 48 hours before we were supposed to film, and I was like, I can't find a place, and I've looked everywhere. So somebody pulled through. Like there was a juice shop that pulled through last minute. We found, there was another location I forget because it's been almost 2 years, but yeah, that was probably our biggest. And our second was logistics. It was just trying to get everybody and everything squared away, ready to go. Yeah.
Two things that stood out to me from the trailer that I think a lot of non-film people would not even think of, but having made a web series in the last couple of years, I definitely was keenly aware. It was locations, but also the number of cast members you had.
Sure.
It was a big cast for a lower budget production, so that was impressive.
Thank you.
So the logistics, I could see that they were probably
willing participants.
Kind of a nightmare.
And that goes to, that goes to like basic 101. If you can't buy it, then use what you have. And Caroline my producer knew several people who were in the local dancing scene. So we knew we could pull from, I knew I wanted to do a scene that had salsa dancing in it and like a dance competition. And she knew people in that community because she's gone dancing a lot, and we knew a couple of choreographers, and so we pulled them in. And then people wanted to be in the film, so they came in, and we gave them an opportunity, and so
that's fun. And locations, that was the other thing I noticed in the trailer. I kept going, oh wow, that's
a lot of places.
That's a lot of places. Well, and I feel like the downfall of a lot of these kind of productions is everywhere you go, you're like, oh, that's somebody's house, and they just took the pictures off the wall. Oh, that's somebody's basement. Yeah, probably the same basement, and they just took the pictures off the wall. Everything looks so generic and so the same. And people either film in their mom's house or the woods. because those are the cheap places to
true.
film, right?
That's where most Star Wars films are filmed, in the woods.
Totally. and so it was refreshing to see that there was more going on in the trailer than that. And yes, there were houses, of course. There's houses in every story.
Yeah.
But there was more. And I feel like that's one of the marks of something that's a little higher quality.
Oh, appreciate that.
Is getting the
Thanks for that input. Yeah, thank you.
Just adds the production value. So, real quick, I just want to say a couple quick words for our sponsors. So, Creative Stream, again, they're located in Provo. They've got a fantastic and very affordable space. For pretty much any kind of production you're working on, they have something that could help you out. And we'll show a little video for them. And then Voyage Direct Primary Care, they're a new practice, and they have a different approach to healthcare. You got to check them out if you're an independent contractor or filmmaker, because they've got an affordable way to get awesome healthcare, better than you get anywhere else. So we're going to take a look at some more information about those, and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Dr. John Sanders. I'm a family physician, and the reason that I went into medicine was because I love helping and caring for people. I created Voyage Direct Primary Care because the cost and complexities of insurance companies have driven people away from accessing the care that they need. I am a board-certified family physician, and physicians across the nation provide upwards of 90% of health care to Americans. As such, I'm uniquely positioned to provide that care to my clients. Cutting out the middlemen, cutting out the cost and complexities of insurance, and putting care back into the healthcare model. So how does it work? For one low monthly fee, Voyage Direct Primary Care provides you with fantastic holistic family medical care. Voyage Direct Primary Care offers unprecedented access to your family doc via same-day office visits, but also we provide access via text, phone call, video chat. There are no copays or deductibles for any of these services. It's just one low monthly fee. In order to optimize your wellness, I like to spend adequate time with you. I like to listen to your problems and get to know you and build that relationship. It's not uncommon for me to spend 30 to 60 minutes with my clients. This helps me be the best doctor for you that I can be. Voyage Direct Primary Care puts old school principles back into healthcare, where your physician really gets to know you, has a relationship with you, and isn't afraid to make house calls on occasion. Voyage Direct Primary Care offers a unique healthcare experience that can save you money whether you have insurance or not. To learn more or sign up, visit voyagedpc.com. Voyage Direct Primary Care, where caring is our superpower.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're slurping our cups a bit here, so enjoying this.
It's good. It's hot.
Fine.
It's good.
Fine water. Anyway, but there's a couple more things that I think we should talk about. Number one is let's talk budget a little bit.
Okay.
And then things that maybe happened during the production you wanna talk about. So let's start with budget. You said it was shoestring. You said like $1,100. Yeah.
Yeah, it was $1,100 for production, and that did cover just the basic necessities and it's important to have food. You got to have some food, you have some drinks, some treats. And we were filming in the middle of summer, so it was hot. So I know I needed to, keep people hydrated. But then we got into post-production, and I was like, okay, people have had success raising money for films that are done on Kickstarter. I want to get the sound done, right?
Oh.
And so I worked with this one of my friends from high school that was in the film industry in LA, and he had a guy that used to work in his post-production house that he recommended, and I would talk to him, and we worked out a deal for, to do sound for $8,000, and I was like, that is fantastic. I think we can actually do that.
Wow.
We could not do that. We got to 3,500, and I got to tell you, like, it was recommended that we should use Seed and Spark.
Oh yeah.
Don't use Seed and Spark. I just don't
interesting.
like.
Okay.
Okay, so Kickstarter has a bigger audience, and I should have gone with Kickstarter. I don't know why I listened to the person that said Seed and Spark, but Seed and Spark is supposed to go for, it has you build an audience for film people through Seed and Spark.
Yeah.
And no, don't do it. So go ahead and go for a Kickstarter if you're going to do it. But we got to 3,500. I collected about 2,500 from people after the fact. They were nice enough to continue their donation. And I ended up just buying some software and learning how to do everything myself.
Sometimes it's the best way.
It took 2 months to do that, and I just finished that in February. So now I'm coloring it. I bought DaVinci Resolve, and now I'm coloring the film. It's like the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically we got by with about $3,500.
Nice.
I did buy vintage lenses. I shot it on a GH5.
Cool. Yeah.
And I bought vintage lenses because I wanted everything to have some blemish, because the characters are just kind of, they're wannabes, and the whole film is basically a wannabe heist. And I just wanted it to have a different type of look. So if you ever have an opportunity to shoot on a GH5 with vintage lenses, I think the browns and the reds really gives it a really good antique tinge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was something else that I did to make it kind of special.
That's very cool. Good. And then I understand you recently got nominated.
We did, yeah. We got nominated at the Utah Film Awards for Best Editing. And there's that.
And you edited it yourself.
I did edit it myself.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
What do you use, out of curiosity?
Premiere right now. Premiere.
I'm a big Adobe fan. So, so no problems there. All editors are great. You just have to know how to use them, I guess. Yeah. But that's fantastic. So this is your third featured film, you said, and you've participated in some smaller festivals, but it looks to me like UFA is the biggest festival you've been nominated for. Is that true?
I think so. My last film was in the Logan Film Festival as a featured selection. That was the first time I had actual screening. But yeah, I guess Utah Film Awards is the biggest one. Yeah.
And the
I guess here let me plug myself a little bit. So there was a Star Wars fan film competition 2015 that we were in for three. We were finalists in 3 categories.
Cool.
So that was really cool.
That is very cool. And where can we see the film? Because actually, straight up, I want to know. I really want to go watch this, and it's not available.
7?
Yeah, it's not available yet, obviously, but
no, it isn't. It will be available. We're trying to get into theaters right now. I'm waiting to hear back.
Fun.
Which was bigger than I ever expected it
to
be.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it would just go to VOD.
Yeah.
So Megaplex theaters, maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe we'll know by the time this comes out. I don't know. But yeah, that'll be. And then I'll put it online, hopefully on Google Play and iTunes, and then it'll end up on Amazon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So what are your parting words? I always like to get some parting thoughts for either the Fruglers who are trying to figure out how to start, or even for somebody who's in the thick of it. What words of wisdom would you share?
For anybody starting, there are so many resources out there for you to gain knowledge from. I don't think it's necessary to go to a film school. But if you're going to do something like this on a big scale or smaller scale, go and stick with it, because it's going to take a lot of time. I've been doing this since 2009, 2010, and my first short films I started making 2002, 2003, and I'm just now feeling like I know what I'm doing. and now I have gravity associated with me in my name,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit. So stick with it. It's not all just going to. It's not all going to hit all at once, and don't do your best idea first. Just do an idea, and wait until you gain some more skill level, and then do your good idea. So yeah,
awesome.
Those would be my words of advice.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on.
You bet.
Fun stuff. Thanks for watching, and of course, tune in every week for further episodes of Film 360, and we'll be following.
It's so warm. It's been sitting.
We brew it really special here. But join us next week, and be sure to like our page, share with other filmmakers, and show your support so that we can keep getting great guests on the show. Thanks so much, and we will see you next week.